please send a direct message with your email address and I will send it out to you in the coming days. So welcome to tonight's workshop. Tonight's workshop is all about managing and overcoming stress with hypnosis. So the agenda, we're going to talk about what stress is, why you experience stress. We can look at the different types of stress. We're going to talk about how stress can actually be contagious. All emotions can be contagious. I'll be talking about why that is and how that happens. We're going to talk about complex PTSD and how that can cause emotional dysregulation. I have a 4-week inner child program which is beginning next month, and that can help to overcome complex PTSD. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking about the limbic system, exercises to help with stress and emotions, and then at the end of tonight's workshop we're going to have a hypnosis session to end. So that is the agenda. So what are you looking to get from this workshop? How will you know that tonight's workshop has been successful? Let me know your answers in the chat box. Let me know in the chat box, how will you know that tonight's workshop has been successful? Serious anxiety problems, one new technique would make a difference. Well, hopefully I can show you more than one technique to help you with that, Jess. So what is stress? When we perceive a threat, we move into the fight or flight response, and our body releases all kinds of hormones to allow us to fight back or run away. So stress is a hormonal reaction to stresses, and stressors are threats. They can be perceived threats, so threats that we perceive to be problems through projection, through projecting the past onto the present, things that have happened in the past onto the present, or real threats, genuine, real dangers to us. And when a person experiences stress, their body's going to release these stress hormones. One such hormone is cortisol. So everyone experiences stress, and a little stress can be beneficial, but prolonged stress can have all kinds of negative impacts on our lives and our health. Prolonged stress can reduce your immune response. It can make you more susceptible to colds, viruses, and other illnesses. So high cortisol levels can increase your blood pressure, they can cause weight gain, and cortisol can cause inflammation in the body, which can cause all kinds of physical issues. Living with stress can cause stomach ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome, can cause burnout, depression, heart disease, eating disorders, and more. So what are the different types of stress? So in psychological studies and research, they usually divide stress into three different categories. They are acute stress, episodic stress, and chronic stress. Acute stress is quite normal. It's something that everyone experiences. It can be caused by new or challenging situations. You may experience acute stress when you avoid an accident, speak in public, or ride on a roller coaster. So, experiencing acute stress can be exhilarating. It can, make us feel alive in some way. When someone experiences acute stress, they're moving into that fight or flight response. And so they are going to experience symptoms that would be very useful in a life or death situation. So increased heart rate is going to get the blood flowing around your body. Sweating is going to allow you to cool down in any kind of perceived physical activity that your mind thinks is coming. Breathing more rapidly is going to allow you to get more oxygen into your body. Episodic acute stress is caused when acute stress occurs repeatedly. So someone who is constantly exposed to stressful environments, such as firefighters or fighter pilots, people who work to deadlines, will experience episodic acute stress. Being repeatedly exposed to stress is when it starts to become a problem. Spending extended periods of time in the fight or flight response can cause anxiety, can cause migraines, high blood pressure, muscle tension, and anger issues. And when you're in that fight or flight response, you're ready to, fight or run away. So if you're angry, it can be very easy to then switch to feeling anxious. Likewise, if you're anxious, it can be very easy to switch to anger and find yourself flying into rages and having angry outbursts. Chronic stress occurs when someone is repeatedly exposed to stressors over a long period of time. So if you work with an abusive boss, or you have a romantic or family relationship that is abusive in some way, you may experience chronic stress. Chronic stress can cause weight gain, insomnia, fatigue, and all of the acute stress symptoms that we already covered. And as I said previously, stress can be contagious. You can actually catch stress. You can catch all emotions from people. People who work in high stress environments or live in high stress environments can actually catch stress from others. This is known as emotional contagion. And this kind of contagion is usually going to happen from higher ranking family members or higher ranking team members onto lower ranking family members and team members. So lower ranking family members and team members are especially susceptible to catching the emotions of those higher ranking members. So if you're a CEO, or if you're a mother or father who doesn't want to have a negative impact on your family or team environment, you would do well to reduce your stress. And one reason that this could happen, especially in the family unit, is because children are looking to their parents and caregivers to help them understand the world, help them understand themselves. So if they are seeing their parents stressed out, they're going to get the message that, they're in a stressful environment, that there's things to be stressed about. Likewise, there's something known as mirror neurons, which means that if you're in an environment with someone who is experiencing any kind of emotions, you can actually pick up on that and start experiencing those emotions yourself. And if you grow up in a dysfunctional family unit, again, you're going to have to become more in tune with people's emotions so that you can avoid danger, etc. So you're going to become more empathetic. Some people, call themselves empaths when they grow up in a dysfunctional family unit, and they can pick up very easily on signs of emotional distress in others. So does anyone have any questions with regards to any of that? Let me know in the chat box. No questions? Fantastic. So stress is a feeling, and like all feelings and emotions, we experience them for a purpose. All humans and animals experience stress. Stress can alert a person when something is wrong, give them the motivation to deal with a stressor or dangerous situation. But there's a difference between stress and stressors. A stressor is an occurrence or a perception of a situation that stresses us out. Anything that causes us to feel threatened or overwhelmed can be a stressor. Financial worries, relationship issues, traumatic events, traffic jams, unemployment pressures, pressures at work, these can all be stresses. Any unpredictable or unforeseen occurrence can be a stressor. And as I said, when someone experiences a stressor, that can result in acute stress. So they experience those symptoms of acute stress, they deal with the stressor, and then they're able to, put it down and carry on. So what are your main stressors? What things do you find occurring in your life that are causing you to experience issues with stress? What are there any recurring events or situations? Are there anything that triggers you that causes stress for you? Let me know in the chat box. Fear being alone. Do you fear being alone as in you fear abandonment, or do you fear being alone as in, you don't like being on your own at all? You have to have someone else around to reassure you, or is it more that you fear being alone as in growing old, alone, not having someone in your life? Let me know. Find it hard to socialize. Okay, so going back to the presentation. So as children, we need what are known as good enough parents. If we don't have good enough parents, a good enough parent is going to provide unconditional love, unconditional acceptance. They're going to make the child feel safe, feel accepted. The child's going to know that they'll always get their needs met no matter what. Many of us don't grow up with good enough parents. It's said that around 80% of people grow up with some form of dysfunction, and that's not our parents' fault. Everyone is doing the best they can with what they have, and what we don't heal, we'll either repeat or reenact on others. So they are not saying this to, blame parents, but it's just the fact that most of us don't get what we need as children. And this creates toxic shame. Even if we're growing up in an environment where there's a lot of arguing, we're going to internalize that arguing. We're going to think it means there's something wrong with us. And to cope with toxic shame, we need to alienate it from ourselves. Many of us become alienated from our emotions. As children, we tend to become shamed out of our emotions. Anger is the first emotion that most children become shamed out of. Without anger, we're going to take on more toxic shame until we become an object of contempt to ourselves. The purpose of anger is to allow us to defend ourselves, defend our boundaries. So growing up with toxic shame can make us feel ashamed when we need help, angry, sad, assertive, sexual, joyous, or even confident. And we can also develop all kinds of insecurities when we're growing up. Again, these insecurities can come from parents, they can come from the family environment, but they can also be created at school through teachers or peers. And we can develop things that cause us to feel toxic shame, to feel ashamed, insecure about how we look, or how we talk, etc. And so when we try and suppress these things, they're going to become stronger. What resists not only persists, but becomes stronger. So the more you try and fight against a feeling or an emotion, the stronger it's going to become. The more you try and fight against feeling stressed or anxious, the stronger that stress or anxiety is going to become. So, as I said, all emotions serve a purpose. Sadness enables us to heal, and grieving is the healing feeling. Guilt can alert us when we've transgressed our values. Healthy shame can signal our limitations. Joy lets us know when our needs are being met. And when a person is experiencing love, their brain actually prevents them from feeling worry or fear. Parents who are out of touch with their own emotions, as I was saying previously about growing up in an environment with stressed parents, we're going to pick up on that. It's going to cause us to experience issues with stress, because as children, we're looking to our parents and caregivers to model for us what these emotions should be, like how people should handle their emotions. And if we're not experiencing a healthy expression of these emotions in our parents, we're not going to be able to learn a healthy way to express our emotions. So John Bradshaw said, well-regulated infants with good enough parents learn to soothe themselves by treating themselves the same way they were treated by their parents or caretakers. And different emotions have different effects on the body. When we experience anger, adrenaline increases, blood flows around the body, preparing us to fight back or run away. Again, anger is part of the fight or flight response. As I said, when we experience stress, when we're faced with a stressor, we're moving into the fight or flight response, which means we can experience anger or anxiety very easily. Also, when a person experiences fear, when we all experience a threat, the freeze response is going to activate first. The freeze response allows us to fixate our attention on the threat. Blood is again going to flow around the body, and our brain is going to release all kinds of opioids to prepare us for any kind of injury that our mind perceives may be coming. And again, our bodies can become addicted to these opioids. So if just like with these opioids, our bodies can also become addicted to cortisol and those other hormones. So even if you aren't in a high stress environment right now, you may find yourself creating situations that create stress or worrying about the future in order to create stress so that your body can get that fix of those hormones and chemicals. When someone experiences love there, that's the complete opposite of the fight or flight response. They're going to feel calm, and as I said previously, their brain is going to inhibit worries. When someone is surprised, their eyebrows raise, their eyes become wider, which allows more light to hit the retina and more visual information to be taken in. So does anyone have any questions with regards to any of that? Let me know in the chat box. So you both said that you experience anxiety, social anxiety. You find it hard to socialize. You fear being alone. Do you experience any other emotional problems? Do you experience emotional dysregulation or any other emotional issues? Let me know in the chat box. Let me know in the chat box. So if you experience issues with stress and emotional dysregulation, if you didn't grow up with good enough parents, and as I said, most people don't, most parents are going to parent the way they were parented. If you didn't grow up with any of these things, it's likely that you've developed CPTSD. CPTSD stands for Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, suffered by prisoners of war, children who grow up with dysfunctional families. CPTSD is caused by neglect, physical, mental, and emotional abuse, ongoing and repeated trauma from which there's no escape. And it requires a reliance on your abusers. So as children, we're going to be prime candidates to develop CPTSD because we're reliant on our parents to feed us, to clothe us, can't fight back, can't run away. So we're going to develop CPTSD. The symptoms of CPTSD are going to include issues with emotional regulation, acting out. Acting out can involve becoming narcissistic and abusive, flying into rages, having anger management issues. Acting in can involve self-harm, eating disorders, alcoholism. Food is the most common substance that people use to try and suppress their emotions. So emotional eating is a very common form of acting in. You're going to have a constant feeling of unease, always worried that something's going to go wrong, always looking for things to go wrong, feeling like there's something wrong with you, like you're broken in some way, a negative self-image. You have relationship issues. Relationships are often going to be very intense from the start and they're short-lived. Dissociation can range from having flashbacks, it can involve out-of-body experiences, all the way through to memory blackouts, etc. Fear of abandonment. So you're going to fear like people are going to leave you, that you're going to be alone, etc. Codependency and people pleasing. So you're going to be afraid to say no to people. You're going to put other people's needs before your own. How many of those CPTSD symptoms do you have? Let me know in the chat box. How many of those CPTSD symptoms do you have? Let me know. All of them? So, as I said, if you experience CPTSD, if you experience a lot of those symptoms, you may find my Inner Child program helpful. It's a 4-week program, begins in January, consists of 4 group coaching sessions. All the sessions are recorded, so you get the recordings and the workbook. There's a Facebook group where I put lots of content to help with emotional eating, to help with negative self-talk. And again, if a child grows up in a dysfunctional environment where they're constantly being attacked and put down, called names, they're going to internalize that. It's going to create a negative inner voice that's going to continue to attack and put them down the same way they were attacked and put down as children. So you can find a course on that in the Facebook group. We're looking to integrate all ages of the inner child from infant to adolescent. Doing this kind of work can reduce anxiety, increase self-esteem, increase confidence. It can allow you to control your impulses and reconnect with your emotions. And again, all emotions serve a purpose. All feelings serve a purpose. No emotion is either good or bad. It just is. And just like with emotions, and what resists not only persists but becomes stronger, it's the same with negative self-talk. So if you have a lot of negative thoughts, if you have a lot of attacking thoughts, attacking yourself, calling yourself names, etc., and you try and suppress those things, you're actually giving them more focus, more energy. The more you try and suppress those things, the stronger they are going to become. So rather than trying to suppress your emotions and feelings, rather than trying to suppress feelings of stress, you want to be able to connect with them, to allow them to be. And I'll be talking more about how we can do that in just a moment. I'll be sharing exercises to help you to do that in just a moment. In the chat box now, I've pasted a couple of links. So the first link is to book a free call with me to find out more about the Inner Child program, or to find out about one-to-one therapy and find out how hypnosis can help you on a one-to-one basis. On the screen now, you can see feedback from people that have previously done the program. You can find lots more feedback via the second link that I pasted in the chat box. If you're interested in the Inner Child program, I'd recommend booking a call with me first to find out more about it, find out if it's right for you. And if you do that, I'll give you a very special price, a big discount on the program. So, as I said, to do that, use the first link in the chat box. Okay. So if we want to reduce stress, if we want to reduce anxiety, if we want to have better emotional regulation, we need to re-regulate our limbic system. And the limbic system supports a variety of functions, including emotion, behavior, long-term memory, and olfaction. That's your sense of taste and smell. Emotional life is largely housed in the limbic system, and it critically aids in the formation of memories. The limbic system is involved in lower order emotional processing and input of sensory systems, and it consists of the amygdaloid nuclear complex. So the information that our senses take in is processed by the limbic system, by the emotional part of the brain, before the neocortex, which is the thinking part of the brain. And to the limbic system, that emotional part of the brain, time is meaningless. So something that happened 30 seconds ago can carry the same emotional weight as something that happened 30 years ago. And so if you want to stop being hijacked by emotional responses, if you want to stop yourself experiencing issues with stress, issues with anxiety, you need to release toxic shame around those emotions, and you need to re-regulate your limbic system. Doing so is going to allow you to go from reacting to acting. So you can regulate your limbic system via many different exercises. I'm going to show you some right now. And these exercises are going to be in the workbook. So if you'd like to receive a copy of the workbook and the exercises so that you have them to go over at a later date, please send me a direct message with your email address. So the first thing you need to do when you feel yourself experiencing a negative emotion, and you feel yourself feeling a way you don't want to feel, you need to take what's known as a SUD score. SUD stands for Subjective Unit of Distress. So asking yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, what am I feeling right now? How strong is the feeling? 1 being not too bad, 10 being terrible. Once you have that SUD score, you can employ a number of techniques. So asking everyone now to take a SUD score. Let me know right now on a scale of 1 to 10, what are your stress levels at the moment? Let me know in the chat box. A 5. Excellent. Okay, so now you have the SUD score. You can work to bring it down. And a lot of exercises to reduce stress, to reduce anxiety, to help with emotional regulation involve breathing or focusing on your breath. Your breath is the only constant, as they say in Buddhist and meditation circles. Everything else changes, but you're always breathing. If you weren't, you'd be dead. So focusing on the breath can allow us to come more into the present moment, to be more in the now. So what I'd like to do is to take a deep breath in, to breathe all the way down into your stomach. Notice your stomach rising as you're breathing in and falling as you breathe out. And taking some sighing breaths, breathing in all the way down into your stomach and breathing out with a big sigh. Sighs are your body's way of releasing pent up emotion, negative energy. So deep sighing breaths can be very soothing, very relaxing. And wherever possible, you want to try and make the conscious effort to breathe into your stomach. It's said that until the age of 7, children naturally breathe into their stomachs. This is known as diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. For some reason, when they start school, they lose the ability to do this. They start breathing more shallowly into their chest. And if you breathe shallowly into your chest, your body's going to release stress hormones. It's going to make you feel anxious, stressed, etc. If you've ever watched someone sleeping, you'll notice it's their stomach that rises and falls as they breathe in and out. So belly breathing is how we breathe when we are relaxed. And the first exercise I'm going to show you is called box breathing. Box breathing involves breathing in for a set number. We're going to use the number 5, but you could make the number bigger if you have good lung capacity, or smaller if you don't. So breathing in for 5, holding your breath for 5, breathing out for 5, and then holding the space between breaths for 5. So your breathing takes the shape of a box. If you'd like to try a couple of rounds of that now, breathing in all the way down into your stomach for the count of 5, holding your breath for the count of 5, Breathing out for the count of 5. And then holding the space between breaths for the count of 5. And just trying a couple of rounds of that on your own. Breathing in for 5. Holding your breath for 5. Breathing out for 5. Holding the space between breaths. The next exercise I'm going to show you is called 7-11 breathing. 7-11 breathing involves breathing in for the count of 7, breathing out for the count of 11. And the theory on why this works is because by elongating the out breath, we're actually triggering the relaxation response. We're telling our mind that all the information our senses are taking in says it's safe, because if we were really in a life or death situation, we wouldn't be breathing in for longer than we were breathing out. So breathing in for the count of 7 and then breathing out for the count of 11. Again, all the way down into your stomach, taking deep belly breaths. Trying a couple of rounds of that now. Breathing in for 7, breathing out for 11. And which of those exercises did you find most relaxing? Has your SUD score gone down? Let me know what your SUD score currently is in the chat box. Another technique we can use is called EFT. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It works on the basis of Qi energy. Chinese people believe Chinese medicine works on the basis of Qi energy. Life force, or prana, as they call it in Indian traditions. And Chinese medicine says that if the energy becomes blocked, it creates bad feeling within the body. So EFT involves tapping various meridian points around the body, similar to acupuncture, but without the needles, to release that bad energy. I'm not going to show you the full EFT sequence today, but it will be in the workbook, which I will email out to you. As I said, if you'd like to receive it, send me your email address. I'm going to show you a couple of meridian points. The first meridian point is at the side of the hand, the fleshy part at the side of your hand, just rubbing that point there. You should find that very soothing and relaxing. And the second point is going to be on the tendons located between the little finger and the ring finger. You could do this on either hand, but just rubbing in there, you should feel it seems a little tender, a little sore when you rub that area. That's known as the 9 gamut point in Chinese medicine. And by rubbing that point, you should find that to be soothing as well. You should find that SUD score is going to go down even lower. So it's good to have a regular relaxation practice. the more you take time to relax, the easier it becomes to relax. And again, this is especially true if you've grown up with dysfunction or if you've experienced some kind of trauma as an adult. When a person experiences trauma, the emotional part of their brain, that limbic system that I was talking about earlier, the amygdala, actually increases in size, and the thinking part of their brain decreases in size, making them more prone to emotional dysregulation. So a regular practice such as hypnosis, qigong, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, these can help to re-regulate your emotions to enable you to start to move out of that fight or flight response. Another thing you can do is journaling to reconnect with your emotions. So if you Google emotion wheel or emotion chart, you'll bring up a big wheel of emotions. In the middle of those emotions are going to be your core emotions: happy, sad, angry, etc. Moving out from those core emotions is going to be more specific emotions related to those emotions. So if you are feeling sad, you'd move out from that. What would be moving out for that? Grief, or if you're feeling anxious, could be fear. Asking yourself, what's the evidence that this feeling is real? What's the evidence that I need to be feeling this right now? If you're feeling stressed, asking yourself, why am I stressed? What is causing the stress? Is it, a real threat, or is it just a perceived threat? If you're feeling anxious, why am I feeling anxious? Again, is it a real threat? Is there, something in my immediate vicinity that's going to cause me harm? If there is, obviously, move yourself away from that threat. If there isn't, you can just allow yourself to say, okay, I'm feeling this right now. There's no evidence for it. You can take that SUD score. So you can, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is the feeling? You can ask yourself what reduces the feeling, what increases the feeling, what thoughts are related to the feeling. And as I said previously, don't try to fight it, just allow it to be. What resists not only persists, that becomes stronger. You are not your emotions, you are not your thoughts. They are there to help you, to serve a purpose for you. So allow yourself to see them that way, and you'll start to find that you can reconnect with them, that you can start to allow them to do what they are meant to do for you, instead of causing you problems. And if you set a reminder on your phone to go off 4 or 5 times a day to remind you to do this exercise, you'll find yourself doing it naturally when you're in situations that would have triggered you before. So any questions with regards to any of that, let me know in the chat box. Fabulous. So who wants to try some hypnosis? Let me know in the chat box if you want to try some hypnosis. Excellent. So before we can do the hypnosis, I have to explain to you what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is a focused state of attention. It's a perfectly natural state that we all experience several times during the course of a day. If you've ever driven somewhere, got into your destination, and not remembered the journey, that would be an example of hypnosis. You've been watching TV, zoned out, lost track of time, whether you were watching finished and you thought, wow, where did all that time go? That would be an example of hypnosis. It's not something I do to you, it's something I do with you. The benefits of hypnosis. First benefit is, as I said, it can be a deeply relaxing state. The more you take time to relax, easier it becomes to relax. Second benefit, your mind can't tell the difference between a real or an imagined event. So just by visualizing yourself the way you want to be, you can actually create new neural pathways in your brain. You can actually start to become that person. And there's been lots of studies done on, sports people. The most recent one I heard about was on bodybuilders or weightlifters, and they got these weightlifters to take 2 weeks off from the gym, 2 weeks off from lifting weights and pumping iron, and to just visualize themselves doing that. And they found that by doing this, after 2 weeks, these people actually experience an increase in muscle mass, an increase in their ability to lift weights. I believe they experienced about a 14% increase in their strength. So visualization can really be powerful, and it can have all kinds of effects, not just on the brain, but on the body. And to prove this to you, we're going to do a couple of exercises. So for the first exercise, I'd like you to hold your hands out in front of you, like so, with your arms straight. Turn your left hand with your palm facing up. Keep your right hand with your palm facing down. Take a deep breath in, all the way down into your stomach, and as you breathe out, allow your eyes to close. And with your eyes closed, I'd like you to just imagine that in your left hand we've placed some heavy books, and those heavy books are weighing down on that left hand. That left hand is sinking lower and lower under the weight of those books. Those books are weighing down on that hand. That left hand is dropping lower and lower. To your right hand, we've tied some helium balloons, and those helium balloons are rising up, taking your right hand with them. So your left hand is sinking lower as your right hand is rising up. Just imagine that now. Your left hand sinking lower as your right hand rises up. Don't try to resist or assist it in any way. Just imagine that. And as I said, what resists not only persists, but becomes stronger. So even if you were to try and resist that, but still visualizing it in your mind, you'll notice that that left hand still sinks lower as the right hand rises up. And then leaving those hands where they are, open your eyes and see if you can notice the difference between those hands. If you notice the difference between those hands, let me know in the chat box. You didn't? Okay, so another exercise. Again, taking a deep breath in, breathing all the way down into your stomach. As you breathe out, allowing your eyes to close. And with your eyes closed, I'd like you to just imagine, only imagine, that you're walking into your kitchen. And there on the side in your kitchen is a nice bowl of juicy citrus fruits. Could be lemons, oranges, could be limes or grapefruits, whatever kind of citrus fruits you like. I'd like you to just imagine there's a nice bowl of juicy ones in your kitchen right now. Just imagine you're walking in there. And what we're going to do in just a moment, I'd like you to imagine picking up one of those fruits and place it on a cutting board. We're going to safely and securely take a knife and we're going to cut into that fruit. As you cut into that fruit, those juices are going to squirt out. Those citrusy smells are going to fill the air. The juice is going to run down onto the cutting board, creating a little puddle of juice under that fruit. So just imagine now lifting out a hand, lifting up one of those fruits. Maybe you can even get a sense of the weight of that fruit in your hand as you place it down on that cutting board. Then you safely and securely take a knife and you cut into that fruit. As you're cutting into that fruit, those juices are squirting out. Those citrusy smells are filling the air. And that puddle of juice is forming underneath that fruit. Just imagine that now. And then cutting into the fruit again. So we're creating that bite-sized wedge. Again, those juices are squirting out. Those citrusy smells are filling the air. That puddle of juice on the cutting board is becoming larger and larger. So now we have that wedge of fruit. I'd like you to imagine just picking up that wedge of fruit, maybe shaking off any excess juices and then lifting it up towards your face. Once again, smelling those citrusy smells, placing it in your mouth and biting down. As you're biting down on that fruit, those citrusy flavors are tingling your taste buds. Those juices are running out, they're running down your face and dripping off your chin. Just imagine that now. And if that exercise made your mouth water, let me know in the chat box. Excellent. So this is the power of visualization. Those exercises show that you have the ability to visualize and focus, concentrate. That means that hypnosis is going to be very effective for you. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take a break for about 7 minutes until 10 past 8 UK time. When we come back after the break, we're going to do the hypnosis. And what I'd like you to do in the break is to think about what your life will look like when stress is no longer an issue for you. What will you be noticing? Will you have better relationships? Will you have more friends? Will you feel more comfortable in yourself, more calm, better health? Maybe you'll have a better job, more money. Really give some thought to those things and let me know in the chat box what you're going to notice. And then when we come back and we do the hypnosis session, I'm going to take the things you tell me, I'm going to build them into the hypnosis session so you can actually visualize yourself that way. So seeing everyone again in 7 minutes time at 10 past 8 UK time when we're going to do the hypnosis. Seeing you both again shortly. Go back and get your master's so you can have a career as a librarian and work full time. Okay. So When you're ready, taking some deep breaths in, breathing all the way down into your stomach. As I said previously, hypnosis is a focused state of attention. It's not something I do to you, it's something I do with you. So as long as you follow along with the sound of my voice, listen to my instructions, you can have no problem going into hypnosis. And if we should become disconnected at any time, you can just wake up like you've had a nice relaxing sleep. Click the Zoom link and we'll all be right here. So taking some deep breaths in, breathing all the way down into your stomach. And we're going to start tonight's session. You can listen either sitting or lying down. It's entirely up to you how you choose to go into a state of trance. I'd like you to find a point out on the wall or ceiling in front of you. It could be a spot or a piece of flaking paint. It could be the point where the wall meets the ceiling. Just allow your eyes to focus on that point as you continue breathing deeply. You're going to start to notice that your eyelids become tired and heavy. They're going to want to close down, but not yet. Right now, I'd like you to just keep focusing on that point, breathing deeply all the way down into your stomach. If any thoughts come into your mind, you can just notice them and allow your attention to return to your breathing. So focusing on that point, breathing in, breathing out. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper. So you're going to start to notice those eyelids becoming tight. You're going to notice yourself maybe blinking more rapidly. You might start to notice those blinks slowing down, wondering if that blink was slower than the previous blink. When you're ready, you can allow those eyes to close down as if all by themselves. With your eyes closed, you can really begin to relax and let go. Seeing if you can notice any difference between those breaths. Maybe the in-breath is slightly cooler than the out-breath. Maybe you can notice yourself relaxing more as you're breathing in. Breathing in relaxation and breathing out any stresses or strains. Drifting down and down. Deeper and deeper. Allowing your unconscious mind to take more and more control. And your unconscious mind is always listening, always looking to protect you and keep you safe. All the most powerful and lasting things you've done in your life, you've done it unconsciously. You're able to unconsciously change from a baby to a child, and from a child to an adult. As a baby, you're able to, your unconscious mind was able to take the nutrients from your milk. It's able to use those nutrients to create bone, muscle. That's right. You're able to become stronger, to start to crawl, push yourself up on furniture. When you're ready to take those first steps, you could let go, placing one foot in front of the other. Your unconscious mind really does know just how much to hold on and how much to let go. And if you've ever watched a baby learning to walk, you'll have noticed that they instinctively know to hold their hands either out in front of them, above their head, catch them if they fall. Drifting down, and that relaxation can begin forming at the top of your head. All the tiny muscles in your forehead can release. Your forehead can smooth out. That relaxation flows down into those eyes and those eyelids, down into your cheeks and your jaw, all the way down your neck into your shoulder. Down your arms into your hands. In a moment, I'd like you to make a fist with one of those hands. Squeeze that fist tighter and tighter. And then when you release that fist, imagine any stresses or strains just flowing. So doing that now as I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Making a fist with that hand, squeezing that hand tighter and tighter. Then releasing, letting go. Stuff flowing. And again, on the count of 3. Making a fist with that hand. 1, 2, 3. Making that fist. Sending any negative emotion, any negative feelings into that fist as you squeeze that fist tighter and tighter. Maybe you can imagine that stuff flowing down into that hand, or maybe you can imagine a color flowing into that hand. That hand becoming more and more full of that color. And then releasing, letting go. Stuff draining away like water flowing down a drain, swirling round and round, never to be seen again. One last time now, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, making that fist, squeezing that fist tighter and tighter, and sending any last feelings of negative energy into that fist as that fist becomes tighter and tighter. That color flowing into that. And then releasing, letting go, drifting down. Relaxation increasing. going down your body, into your legs, all the way down into your feet. Waves of relaxation, going all the way down from the top of your head to the very tips of your toes. The more you relax, the deeper you can go. The deeper you go, the more you can relax. Drifting, dreaming, deeper and deeper. Down. In a moment, I'd like you to start counting backwards in your mind, counting backwards from 300. After each number, it's almost as though there's a tiny voice in the back of your head telling you to just relax, relax, relax. Each number taking you deeper and deeper. At some point, you're going to notice that you've relaxed those numbers right out of your mind. You're going to notice that you can't notice what the next number should be. Starting now, and I will start you off 300. Relax, relax, relax. 299. Relax, relax, relax. 298. 297. Yes. Deeper and deeper. More and more comfort. More and more relaxed. At some point, when you reach that point where you notice that you can't notice what the next number should be, you can allow yourself to completely relax and let go. Maybe becoming the most relaxed you've ever been, the most comfortable you've ever felt. I wonder if you can remember the most relaxed you've ever been. Could this be it? Deeper. The more you relax, the deeper you can go. The deeper you can go, the more you can relax. Relaxing those numbers right out of your mind. Down and down. Going to that place where anything's possible. State of trance. And as a person starts to enter that state of trance, they can start to notice many things. They can start to notice that tiny muscles in the arms and legs begin to twitch a little as they release any tension there. They can notice their eyes moving about beneath their eyelids. You can notice themselves swallowing more rapidly. Maybe you'll notice yourself wanting to swallow now. Maybe you'll notice that you can't notice what that next number should be. That you've relaxed those numbers right out of your mind. And that's okay. And allow you to really go to that place of extreme comfort, extreme calm. Maybe you can imagine yourself in a magical place. It could be a beach on a warm and sunny day. It could be a woodland or a meadow. Somewhere where you can feel totally safe, completely at ease. There's no one else around, it's only you. Nice. Feeling totally, completely comfortable. Nice. Drifting up out of that version of you that's relaxing. Looking back, noticing how calm you look, how relaxed you look. Drifting up higher and higher. Drifting off and seeing a future version of you. Version of you in those old situations where you may have experienced stress or anxiety in the past, but things are different now, somehow. You can notice that you're dealing with things more calmly, more confident. No, so the things that used to bother you now just relax. So maybe you'll be remembering to tense that hand, tense that fist, and send that negative energy into that fist. Releasing, letting it go as easily as you don't even need to tense that fist. You can just imagine tensing that fist. Releasing that negative energy. Noticing how good that can feel. Then drifting off into the future, maybe 6 months from now, seeing a future version of you. Version of you with more money, a better job, maybe learning new things. Feeling successful. Drifting down and connecting with that future version of you. Seeing through their eyes, feeling what you feel. Really connecting with that future version. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and when I reach the number 5, you can come all the way back to the here and now, bringing that future version of you all the way back with you. 1. Maybe in the coming days and weeks, you'll begin to notice things. Those things will let you know that things have begun to change, that you have begun to change. 2, and when you notice those things, you can remember this time and get a sense of yourself smiling. Either there, then, now. 3, allowing the feeling to return to your body. Maybe you'd like to wiggle your fingers and toes. 4, becoming more aware of your surroundings. And on the next number, you can open your eyes, noticing how good you feel. 5, eyes open, wide awake, and maybe you'd like to stretch. Sigh. And if you like that, let me know in the chat box. Excellent. Fantastic. Fantastic. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Okay, so in the chat box now, I've pasted some links again. First link to book a free call with me, discuss one-to-one therapy. Second link to find out more about the Inner Child program. Don't sign up for the Inner Child program via that link. Book a free call with me. I'll give you a big discount on it. The third link, you can see upcoming events. The fourth link is to my Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. You can find lots of content to help with anxiety, CPTSD. I try and post in there regularly, so please have a look at that. The fourth link is to my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, you can find hypnosis recordings. You can find old workshop recordings. And you can also find useful info there. I try to upload there regularly. The final link is to my Facebook page. Please give my Facebook page a like and a follow. So thank you both for joining tonight. Do you have any questions, anything you'd like to know? Let me know in the chat box. Thank you, Jess. Thank you for joining. Excellent. Thank you. So if you've liked tonight's workshop, please leave positive feedback on Meetup. That will be very much appreciated. And as I said, have a look at those links. I hope to see you both again on future workshops. Thank you very much and good night. Thank you. Good night.